All right, we're going to start on the midterm. Let's go ahead and get this video rolling. I'm going to tap spacebar, and I'm going to come over to my front view and tap spacebar again. Then I'm going to load in my image plane. To do that, I'm going to go to my panel toolbar here and go to View, go down to Image Plane, and then click on Import Image. You should have downloaded the image from LMS and put it into your source images folder for your class folder. You know, you have the class project folder. Globe 5, there it is. I'm going to click on that and then click Open, and there it is. Make sure you scale it up bigger. You don't have to really, but it's just going to be easier to work with if it's bigger. I'm going to press W and move it off center. So we're moving on. It looks like the Z in this case. So move it off center because we're going to create everything here. We don't want to create on top of our image. All right, so the base is what we're going to start with. This part right here is a cylinder. So we'll start with the cylinder. Click on that. Let's go ahead and move this down. Move it down here. I'm going to click the polycylinder in my inputs, and I'm going to change my height to 0.5. That looks pretty close. Maybe a little bit tall. I'll just leave it there. That should be fine. And then we'll change the radius. Let's click on the word radius and then middle click and drag over here. Looks like 2.3 maybe? 2.2? 2.2? 2.2 is a little bit big. Let's do 2.15. Okay. There we go. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the grid. It's right here on my panel toolbar, so I can see through this more easily. I'm going to go to subdivisions on caps. I'm going to click right there and type 2, press enter, and I have an edge that's added. Oop, I didn't want to do that. Panels, perspective. I have an edge that's added in there. Now let's go to edge, double click it, press R to scale it. We'll scale it out. We can scale it from the center because it's two-dimensional. So we want to scale it out to get this corner right here for that next ridge up. That's pretty good. Go to face, come to the inside of your object, and then click and drag over the center, just the center part, so you get all the faces without getting any extra faces. Now I'm going to press W, I'm going to hold shift and drag this up. I'm going to press R and scale it in. I'm going to also then, with R select, I'm going to hold shift, because this is angled, right? So I scaled it in a little bit to get that angle on there. It's a little bit tall, I think. Let's move it down. And then I'm going to press R, and I'm going to hold shift and scale it in from the center, so I can get this next ridge. Scale it in so you get like the same amount of space here. And then I'm going to press W, I'm going to hold shift, and I'm going to drag it up. Holding shift, I'm going to drag it up again, and I'm going to press R. I'm just going to scale in without holding shift. That way I get this rounded edge here. I don't know what I clicked on there. Let me just reselect my faces, even though they're selected. I've had a lot of issues with this file, so press R. We already have that press. So hold shift, and I'm going to click and drag in a little bit because this says like a ridge on it. Press W, hold shift, click and drag down. Press R, hold shift, click and drag in. Press W, hold shift, click and drag up. So you get this overlapping. I think mine's too big. Let's go back. R, shift, click and drag in slightly, and then press W, hold shift, and click and drag. So it's about the same thickness. So you can see you can get that shape where it looks like it goes in. Pretty good. Cool. All right, so this is a little bit too tall. Let's bring it down. Press R, hold shift, click and drag in. I'm just going to pull this up a little bit. So you get that curve in there. Hold shift, click and drag up, and then scale it in, and then press W, hold shift, click and drag up. We're probably okay. With this here, we can add an edge loop in, say like right here. And we can go to these faces, click and drag over all the faces there, and press R and scale in from the center. And you get that curved shape on the outer edge. We should be good to go. Press 3 so you can kind of see everything. It looks like it's on its way. It's not done yet. We'll have to add in control edges, etc. Let's go back to faces here. We need to select our faces. We'll come back inside. And I'm going to click and drag over the center here. Okay. With R turned on, I'm going to hold shift, click and drag out, because I want to get this sharp angle right here. And that's pretty good. Press W, hold shift, click and drag up. Press R, hold shift, click and drag in from the center. And then we can have press W, hold shift, click and drag up, and then do it again, and then press R and drag in. And now we have that rounded shape. It's a little bit too tall, I think. You can always make it shorter. Go to vertex, click and drag your vertices, and then pull them down a little bit. We'll probably have to make this even rounder. It's pretty good the way that it is, but I don't know. We'll see. Go back to faces. Faces. Okay. Faces. All right, is this file corrupted? No, it's on faces. Okay. I don't know why it's not letting me Okay, there we go. Press R, hold shift, click and drag in, and then W, hold shift, click and drag down. And we'll make that center hole there. And just make it as wide as you feel like it needs to be. I'm going to go to multi here and go to my edge, double click my edge here and scale this so I can scale it in even narrower. Now, we got the basis of this done. Check it out. That's the basis of that base. All we need to do is add in our control edges to make it sharp. So I'm going to actually do something with the bottom here. Double click this, press R. In case I ever want to tip this globe over, it's got to look right. So hold shift, click and drag out. Oop, I don't want to do that. I just want to click and drag out. Don't hold shift, just click and drag out from the center. So you can get this ridge down here and then press W. You want to go to your faces, so go inside, get the faces on the bottom, go to face, and click and drag over the faces in the center. Press W, hold shift, click and drag up. So make it pretty thin. And then you can come in and go to vertex maybe, and you could always, you know, have it a hollow shape all the way up, because it probably is in real life, or at least part of the way up. Older globes maybe not, but the new ones, they're all the way up. Now we have a little lip here on the very bottom. Let's go ahead and add that in. We'll use the insert edge loop tool. Remember, that's under your mesh tools if it's not on your shelf. So add in a little edge down there. Go to face, click here, shift double click, and then press R, hold shift, click and drag out. And then you got a little lip there. Go to object mode, press 3. It looks pretty good. Let's go to, I'm going to add in control edges here. Like I said, just in case this ever gets tipped over, we'll be able to see that it's pretty sharp in there. Like that. And then we want to add them out here. I just press 1, and I go back, and I'm going to add on a control edge here. I'm going to add one up here. Don't get too close. The closer you get to the edge, the sharper the edge will be. So kind of bring it out a little bit, and then add one in here so this rounds over some. Add one in here, and then go to object mode, press 3. And you can see that's pretty close to what we see here. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm not seeing too much of an issue at all. Now this right here is obviously an issue, but we can fix that by adding in a control edge again. So add one down here, underneath it. Object mode, press 3. It's a lot sharper. We'll add one on top, right here. Object mode, press 3. Look at that. That it's sharp like that. Now it's too high up, I think. We can always move it down and also scale it closer together. You can't go too much because once those edges overlap, then that's a problem. All right, so we're almost done here. We just got to add more control edges, and we'll be done. So let's add some here, 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 and in here. These faces in here we don't need. We're never going to see these faces, so let's get rid of them. Go to face. Make sure you're only selecting these faces, because if you're at an angle, like if you're at a slight angle here, like if you're like this, you might get other faces, which I didn't, but you might get some faces up here. Just delete them. We don't need those. And if you wanted to make this edge lower, you could always double click the edge and then pull it way down in, like that. If you think you're going to see anything down there. Press 3 and see how it looks. It looks pretty good. I think we're good. I think we're done. This might need to be sharper right here, this edge. Wrong. This edge right here. There. I think that might be good. All right. I think the only thing I think I'm seeing right now is just go to these vertices right here and then just scale them out from the center. So like this. So there's a slight angle there. I think there's a slight angle on there in the photo. Yeah. The only thing else I think I can see is this right here. It needs to be maybe narrower, rounder. Object mode. And I think we're good. All right, make sure you save that and then move on to the next part.